guys, it's Michelle from Cozyegg. Welcome to 2019. If you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back to check on what I'm up to. And if this is your first time watching, welcome. I try to put all of the show notes, links to anything that I talk about over on my blog. So I will put a link to that in the description box, and I'm a little behind, but I hope to rectify that soon in the new year. You can also find me on social media as Cozyegg on Instagram, Ravelry, all of the places. So I will look for you there. Okay, so let's jump into it. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about is kind of my plan, one of my 2019 plans for this channel, and one of my goals is to actually work to do weekly videos. I intend to do shorter videos, but more frequently. I'm just thinking that, that will help me out. Hopefully that will help some of you out, since I know my videos tend to go really long. Not as long as some, but tend to go really long. So my plan for the new year is to try to do weekly uploads of some, possibly shorter videos. So that's the first thing I want you to look for. And as I mentioned, I am working to get all of my show notes updated in my blog. As I mentioned last time, I've been doing quite a bit of work on my blogs, unlinking photos from Flickr, all that good stuff. So that's part of kind of the overhaul that I'm working on at the moment. But let's dive into what's been going on. You may hear that my voice is not 100%. I actually got sick on New Year's Eve and have been sick since then. I'm better, but I still have a horrendous cough, which I am hoping is not going to make its presence known while I'm trying to video, but that's what you're hearing. And there's Tut, come to visit. So let's talk a little bit about, where do I want to start? Let's talk a little bit about finishes, and then we'll go on to whips, and then I want to talk about my plans for the next few weeks, as well as talk a little bit more about my stitching goals for 2019. So let's get started. I worked on rewind. I decided that I wanted to, I mentioned in my last video, stitch some of the freebie primitive hair sabot pieces this coming year. I actually decided to go ahead and stitch the one for Yule, and I started that on Christmas Day, and I think it took me 3 nights of stitching to get it finished. And so here it is. So this is kind of my start and finish. So there's Yule, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really love this piece. This is my second time stitching it, which I will get to. I'll circle back around to that. But this one is for me, and I'm really thrilled about that. I had really hoped to get it finished, because we have to lay on the pile of stuff that I'm going to show you. I had really hoped to get this finished before the end of the year, but with getting sick, it just didn't happen. So the threads that I used for this, so this is, it's a freebie from the Primitive Hair on her blog. And she calls for DMC, 3 different DMC colors. She calls for terracotta and brown and white, and that's it. So I just kind of pulled some overdyes from my stash, which is the same thing that I did last time. So for the white, I used Crescent Colors Bamboo. For the gold, for the crown, I used Weeks Dye Works Whiskey. For the stag, I used Gentle Art Maple Syrup. And for the letters that spell out Yule, last time I stitched it with Gentle Arts Ruby Slipper, which I cannot find. I don't know what I've done with it. So I pulled this Needle Necessities number 153 in my stash. That's a pretty variegated red. And this is an overdyed cotton as well. I don't think that they make these anymore. This is, I think, the only one that I have. But that's what I used to stitch the red. It is a lot more variegated than the Ruby Slippers. I'm not entirely sure that I love that. So I'm still sort of contemplating what I want to do there. And that is also part of the reason I didn't finish it, because I wasn't entirely sure that I loved that. But my intention is to finish this into a little pillow with crushed walnut shells. So, so 1 of 8 done, which I'm thrilled with. And I was happy to have that last little finish before the end of the year. So, then I went back to working on Anniversaries of the Heart. So let me show you that, if I can get to get off of it. So I'm working on the October block, and this is where I'm at. It's actually going pretty quickly. It's going quicker than I expected, actually. The Friday after Christmas, I went to a lock-in at my local needlework shop, the Stitch Niche in Arlington, and I had actually saved a couple of big fill-in spots to work on while I was there. I saved the pumpkin to fill in, and I saved the house to fill in, and I got almost all of the house filled in while I was there. And then I worked on this until the end of the year, basically. So really happy with how that's coming along. And this is going to be my focus on a finished piece. I don't think I'm going to have it done before I have to for Tudor Rose Magic check-in at the beginning of February, because I still have 2 more this size block and then a double block. So I don't think it's going to happen. But this is going to be kind of my piece that I want to focus on a finish until it's done. So you heard it here first. Yeah, so I worked on that through the end of the year. Blackbird Designs Anniversaries of the Heart. Did I say that? And the block that I'm currently working on is called Pumpkin Farm. And you can see, like, the color of the house here. Obviously my burnt orange is much more vibrant than what's used here, but I still I'm fine with it. So this is prettier, but whatever. I don't, I'd rather have it done than fight with it. So that's the one that I'm working on. And we will, sorry, I'm digging a little bit. while I'm in here, because I had a couple other things I wanted to show you. So that's going to be my focus on a finish until it's finished. So then that's what I worked on through the end of the year. And then on January 1st, I had mentioned I was thinking about starting one of the strawberries for, that was a companion piece for the Crown Bird Sampler that we're going to be starting as a stitch along. Let's see if I have a quick picture. I may or may not. There we go. So this strawberry was the little companion, one of the companion pieces. So there was this little tray, and then the strawberry, and then there's actually a design for a second strawberry, which Paulette did not have photographed in here, reason being that Tilly stole it. So anyway, there's a second strawberry. But I went ahead, and so on January 1st, I started on this strawberry, and since my cat has now lain on it, stomped on it, it's all lumpy jawed in my Q-snap. Lumpy jaw being a technical Texas term. So this is where I'm at, and I have just a thin piece of fabric, so it's not actually caught here on my Q-snap, but this is where I'm at, and so I need to do one more star, and then on the center of each of these stars, they have a little, 4 stitches, I think, in black, and then this strawberry will be finished. So, but of course, I started this the day after I got sick. So stitching has been a little non-existent. So this is going super slowly. And I believe that this is 36 count vintage Meadow Rue, which is what came in the kit. And I should have enough to be able to do the other strawberry. And the thread that I'm using for this is what's called for, is what's in the kit, is Belle Soie Sister Scarlet. So let's talk about Sister Scarlet for a moment. This is Belle Soie Sister Scarlet. And it is a beautiful kind of crimson red, but not always. So a million years ago, I did a Blackbird Designs piece called Where My Heart Blooms that someone had converted to Belle Soie's, and she converted the red to Sister Scarlet. And that was my first run-in with Sister Scarlet. I ordered the Belle Soie's from an online needlework shop, got them, and my Sister Scarlet was pink. I was not thrilled. So, what I actually ended up doing for that piece is it did go dark in some places, not quite this dark, but more red in some places. I ended up cutting it and just stitching with the darker, more red parts of that skein of silk. So, and Paulette mentioned when we had our workshop, she even said that when she stitched the strawberry, her skein of Belle Soie's Sister Scarlet that she was using was actually much more pink. And so when you look at the photos, her strawberry is much pinker than what mine is. So we've been having some discussions. Becky, Socks for Mom, and Rachel, the cross-stitch counselor, Stitching Me Well, Mrs. Vensel, we have been having a discussion about Sister Scarlet because Becky's Sister Scarlet that she got is much more pink. And so we've been talking, you know, possible substitutions, which it looks like Gloriana Bellagio is a very good match for this. Gloriana Poinsettia, I had also mentioned, it has more variegation in it, and so it does have the dark crimson, but then it goes to a much brighter red. There's Gloriana Schoolhouse Red as well, and I think one of my fellow guild members mentioned that she had pulled Gloriana Cranberry. So if you are thinking about joining us for the Crown Bird Sal and are in need of a substitution for Sister Scarlet, those are some options. So anyway, so I'm hoping to finish my strawberry, and then I want to stitch the other one. The other one is much smaller. It's called the Crown Suitor, and it's just a little guy. So I want to stitch that as well. So I worked on that since the 1st up until yesterday. And so yesterday, I started another new start, which I had on the docket for this month, which is my blackbird stocking. So I mentioned last time that I was gonna, I'm doing a sal with a couple of my friends to stitch blackbird stockings all year. And so my January stocking that I'm doing is actually the one called Auld Lang Syne, which is out of the January booklet By the Chimney with Care. I have already stitched the birthday one, but I had everything ready to go for Auld Lang Syne, so that's the one I decided to start. And it only calls for 2 threads, and I'm stitching this on the called for 30 count R&R Old Town blend. This is my start. So this is what I got done last night. And like I said, it just calls for 2 threads. It calls for cherry bark, and onyx. And cherry bark is one of those threads that everything under the sun calls for, and I had like very little of it. So when I went to my L&S the other night, I stocked up on another skein of cherry bark, so that I have it ready to go. So started this last night, so I'm going to continue to work on this this week, and this is in my Levy Moore bag, a la Michelle Bendy, and everything just kind of slips down in here, which is perfect. So I am planning on, so this week I am planning on continuing to work on my stocking and hopefully get that finished. And then I'd like to also go back to my strawberry and get it finished as well. And of course, now that I'm trying to do this while I'm talking, it doesn't want to go in there. One more try. So that is my plan. I also have to travel for work later in the week, and so both of these are small projects that I thought would be perfect to travel with. So I'm hoping that between the traveling and between these being rather smaller projects, I'm hoping I can get these done this week. And then I'll go from there. So those are my whips. that's kind of what I've been focusing on and working on. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, let's do stash first while I have it here. So, my friend Karen gave me this Made by Mama Joan bag that has sugar skulls on it, and I absolutely love it. And I love the clear plastic front so that I can see what's in there, and it's not a, you know, surprise as are most of my project bags. And it's got this pretty bright turquoise fabric on the inside. So I already put that to use. I have Yule in there, and I will probably pull that out and kit up the next one, which is for February. So many thanks to Karen for that. And then while I was at my L&S, I picked up a couple of things. So I picked up the cherry bark. I also decided to get some Gentle Arts storm clouds. So Emily had said that this was like her favorite color, so I had to give it a try. It's like this beautiful variegated deep kind of mossy green almost, and then it's got some brown in it. It goes to almost a black, really pretty. So I had to have some of that, right? And then I picked up a couple of charts too, because I couldn't stop myself. I'm going to take this one out of the plastic just so I can show it to you. So this was just released, and as soon as I saw it, I knew that I wanted it. This is Ink Circle's Athene Nocturne, so Athena's owl, and the design is based on this coin, and I just absolutely adore it. I've been really kind of obsessing about having like a bird wall and stitching a bunch of bird pieces to go on that wall. And when I saw this, I was just like, I need to have this. So yeah, Athena's owl, I love it. It's taken from the antique Athenian silver coin, the tetradrachm. Anyway, so yeah, I love that, and I think it would be a, you know, a fun little quick stitch as well. So I got that, and then while I was there, I don't know what possessed me, but I just started sort of digging through their Blackbird Designs charts. I just was kind of, you know, in the back of my head, I thought maybe there's something in here that I'm just, you know, dying for. And guess what? There was. So this has been on my wish list for a million years. And when I saw it, it had to come home with me. This is like one of those pieces that's like on my bucket list of stitching. I remember years ago seeing Siobhan's, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. Those kind of lollipop flowers and the two birds. I just love it. And it's based on this antique sampler. So yeah, I had to have it. And for $8. And this is like, what did I say? Was it 2006? Yeah, it's from 2006. So So that's the stash I got. Not a lot, but a lot for me. And had a good time stitching that day. So let's talk about goals for 2019. I talked a little bit about them last time. You know, that I wanted to do the Sabbath pieces for the Sabbath Sal. I wanted to finish Anniversaries of the Heart and have some kind of focus on the finished pieces. And obviously I'm going to start the Crown Bird Sampler. We're going to start that around the 15th. I'll talk more about that in my next video. There is a Facebook group. I think it's the Crown Bird Sampler Sal. So you can search for that on Facebook, and we're going to use the same hashtag on Instagram. So, and it's by Plum Street Samplers. So, in addition to that, the other things that I really want to do is I have, I've got something like 67 whips, 67, 68, somewhere in there. I've seen a bunch of people doing their whip parades, kind of a refresh of their whip parade, and honestly, the idea of pulling out all of that makes me gives me a little bit of anxiety, stress, so I'm not going to do it. But suffice it to say that as I have been going through my my photos on my blog, and I've been digging like way back to 2006 looking at stuff, it made me realize that I have a bunch of pieces that I really love that have been languishing for far too long. And then, you know, having that many whips stresses me out. For some people, it doesn't bother them, and I get that. There's plenty of people that have more whips than I do. There's plenty of people that have less whips than I do. But for me personally, I want to get that number down. And so what I've set as a goal is to be under 50 whips by the end of the year. Now, I have a whole mix of sizes of whips. So I think that knocking it down by, 17 or 18 is doable, depending on, the number of whips. I mean, the size of the whips. So that's one of my goals, is to be under 50 whips by the end of the year. I would like to do have Colonial Garden be finished by our anniversary in April. So I need to get, the Anniversaries of the Heart knocked out, and then I can focus on Colonial Garden and getting that knocked out. And one of the things that I want to do is participate in high tea, and I'm going to be doing that with whips. So kind of my focus on a finish is probably going to be sort of, what I'm going to pull out for that high tea start, but not a start. And then the other thing I think I mentioned is playing Project Bag Roulette and using the Tiny Decisions app to pull, a project bag and then working on something that's in the project bag. And I was noticing in here, I've got I've got 3 beautiful pieces. Not only my Crown Bird piece, but this is the Little Red Chair by Scarlet House. And then I also have this Liberty sampler that I started, that I have a little bit on. And I started that back, I think I was working on that like election night. Here's what that looks like, the Lady Liberty sampler. And I really haven't touched it since then. So even just in this one bag alone, if I stitched, the 3 things that are in this bag, that would make me super happy. and I may be repeating myself a little bit from, last time. I honestly can't remember what all I talked about, which is where our show notes would come in handy. Anyway, one of the other things that is really important to me to work on this year that I did not talk about last time is focusing on releasing some more of my own patterns. I've got several that I've got sort of in the works that I'm working on designing, but I would like to release at least 4 new patterns this year. So I'm thinking, 1 a quarter is kind of my goal. And that's where I'd like to focus some of my energy as well, is to get some more of my patterns released. And then the other thing is, I've talked before about how horrible I am at gift giving. And it stems from a few different things, I think. One is I get, these grand ideas that I want to make something for somebody because my love language is service. And so I love to make things for people because that's part of me showing them how much they mean to me, right? Is that I'm spending the time. But I also get kind of hung up with the pressure of, is it going to be good enough? Are they going to like it? Am I going to have stitched this or, sewn this or whatever for somebody that doesn't appreciate it, so on and so forth. So I get a little paralyzed by that, which derails me. And then I also wait until the last minute and think, oh, I'm going to bust this out in 2 days. And, that never happens. So then I miss, whatever the thing was that I was making the gift for. And, then I feel bad. And so it just sort of compounds itself. And so I decided that one of the things that I want to do in 2019 is to work on balancing out some of that negative energy that I have around gift giving, in an effort to kind of release that, right? So I am considering 2019 my year of giving. And so it's something that I'm going to be doing all year long, where I want to focus on making or giving, those gifts that have been in the back of my head that I've thought about, that I've wanted to do, and I just didn't get around to it, or I started it and didn't finish it in time, or, I started to do it and then decided, oh, it's not going to be good enough. And so then I didn't do it, whatever. All of those things. So my plan is to just sort of throughout the year work through those things, but do it without date constraints. So I'm not trying to get something done for someone's birthday or for Christmas or whatever. I really just want to focus on how much the person means to me and wanting to do something for them that is essentially going to turn into sort of a random act of kindness as opposed to a birthday gift. So I have several of those pieces and things that I've already got kind of on my list. I have like a whole page in my bullet journal called The Year of Giving, and I've started writing out, things that I've started to do or wanted to do and haven't started, or, haven't put things in motion to make that happen, etc. Excuse me. And so one of the first things that I want to focus on is I stitched these 2 pieces for a friend of mine last year, and one was intended to be a Christmas gift, and that was this one. Yeah, okay, I like that red better. I'm gonna pull mine out and see if I can find my ruby slippers. So one of them was this that I stitched that was supposed to be a Christmas gift, and I have it kind of, I was gonna sort of do it as a larger ornament with this green, this pretty green backing fabric. I thought that would be really pretty. So I have everything cut out ready to go. I just never did it. So I have that. And then also for the same person, I stitched another one of these, which is the Ostara one. And same thing, you know, I was gonna do this as an oval with this backing fabric that I thought was really pretty. And this was supposed to be a birthday gift because her birthday is right around Ostara or Easter, spring. So my first plan is to finish these, and then these are going to be kind of the first thing that goes out as my year of giving, because they're almost done. So that is the first thing that I want to focus on. And, you know, I may or may not talk a ton about my year of giving, but since I had these pieces, since I just talked about Yule, and since I'm talking about my plans for 2019, I did want to take a few minutes and talk through that. I also have some other finishing for myself that I'd like to get done. Like this is all ready to go, and this is all ready to go. So that's in the pile as well. So year of giving. So those are kind of my plans for 2019. As I said, I will talk a little bit more about the plans, my plans for the rest of January in my next video. And since I'm going to be trying to, you know, record and upload more regularly, I'm hoping that that you can kind of keep up with me, and I can, you know, share my plans with you sort of as they happen. But for this coming week, I'm gonna focus on the stocking and on finishing the strawberry. And then next week, it'll be time for Dark 13 stitching, don't forget. So, that's it. Short and sweet, sort of short and sweet. But I hope that you enjoyed what I had to share with you today. So please, you know, like, subscribe, comment. Show notes will eventually be up on my blog. There will be a link to that down in the description box. And as always, you can find me on Instagram as Cozyegg. You can visit my website at cozyegg.cozyeggdesigns.com. My patterns are also available at my website at cozyeggdesigns.com. So I hope to see you there. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in about a week.